It's the Morning Brew with Elle Dawson and Gillian Robertson. Brought to you by Fight Bananas.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Sunday, guys. Yours truly, Elle Dawson, and to my, I don't know if we're left or right on anybody else's screen, Gillian the Savage Robertson. How you doing today, G?
I'm doing good. We had some good prelims last night.
Honestly, a lot of the prelims kind of outdid the main card.
Oh no, I watched the prelims last night, the main card this morning, and when I woke up this morning and just saw decision, I was like, "Oof, this is gonna be rough."
Yeah, and honestly, the fights weren't terrible. The women's flyweight fight wasn't terrible. I know a lot of people probably weren't happy with the way Usman won, but I didn't think that fight was terrible. Did a lot of damage, looked great. Like, they weren't terrible. But they also weren't a couple weeks ago when we just had like the most killer fight night in recent history, you know? So Christian prelims better than the main event for sure. I'm with you. I'm on board. I was really happy to see Usman win. But let's just, before we dive into it, let's just give it like an overall rating A to F. Where are you sitting on this card?
I'm like, the prelims really held it up a lot. I'm like, that's what's holding it up for me. The main card for me, I wasn't like the women's flyweight fight. I definitely enjoyed. The other ones, I'm like,
Barcelos and Garbrandt was a good fight.
Yeah, I was just about to say Garbrandt Barcelos too. That was also another one that was a banger. The first two fights definitely didn't hold up. I would say maybe C.
You were in agreement with Christian. Christian says C-. It was also just a weird night. So we had, like, even before the fights, like, we had a couple short notice replacements. You had Chris Montinho. You had Cameron Smotherman fighting Ricky Simone. Like, that, a lot of those matchups weren't supposed to happen. Like
Vanessa Demopoulos too.
Yeah, Vanessa Demopoulos. Like, a lot of those weren't supposed to happen just a couple weeks ago. Or just a week ago. So it was kind of weird already. And then we had 3 headbutts. I know one of them didn't get called, but was still there. We had several headbutts. We had what a lot of people are calling the worst flop in UFC history. Don't worry, guys. We will absolutely get there. It was just a strange night. Not a bad night, but a strange night. I'm with you. I think I give it a C.
Yeah, no, definitely a strange night. And for all the people who took the fight short notice, it did not play out well for them, I will say.
No. And you had, I think Chris Montinho is the kind of fighter that is going to do probably pretty decent in the regional circuit, but I just don't think the level is there for the UFC. Like, and you even saw Wellmaker looked phenomenal, but you almost saw him get like a little frustrated for a minute because Montinho was doing everything wrong. Like, it's hard to fight a guy that doesn't fight you clean and doesn't do the things that you're used to people doing, you know? Mm-hmm. So you kind of saw that for a little bit. And then, of course, it didn't matter that with the setup, beautiful, fake the kick, hook over the top. Like, that kid is a true prospect, superstar in the making, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, and just the power in his hands, too. At 135, I'm like, I feel like the smaller weight classes, you don't see it too often. So I'm like, to see him last 2 fights, even in the Contender Series, a nice knockout, pretty much, like, similar, I don't know, he's always switching stance with his knockouts, I feel like. He's always setting it up in some tricky way, and I really do enjoy watching him. And I feel like he kind of went viral after his last fight, after he got the $50K bonus, quit his job, got another $50K bonus this time. I'm like, kid's just living the dream. I say kid, he's 31, but kid. He's 31.
Child.
No, he's just got a baby face, I feel like.
Baby face. And he's so, like, I just assumed he was young because he was on the Contender Series not, like, 2 fights ago, right?
I feel like him and Cameron Smotherman both. I always think they're a lot younger than they are.
How old is Cameron Smotherman? I thought he was a kid, too.
I think he's, like, 27, 28. He's...
Okay. I think Malcolm Wellmaker is in a great spot. I always do hate to see like somebody get in that late when I see the talent. I hope he's able to like make use of his prime in the next 2 years because I think he is a really special talent, like you said, with that kind of power at 135.
Oh yeah, that kind of boxing too. It was just so clean, so crisp, and just you see like I don't know, O'Malley wasn't able to put down Moutinho that fast.
At all, right?
I think he didn't put him down, but he got the TKO in the later rounds.
No, that's really well. Like he sets up traps well. Like I'm very impressed with him. I am. And honestly, I like the whole like prelims here. Phil Rowe. I honestly thought we might have a three-peat or a repeat, not a three-peat, a repeat with Cameron Smotherman. I looked like he might catch Ricky Simone there at the end of the third, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have two guys that are down 2 rounds, winning a KO in the third round. But good for Phil Rowe, like just relentless, didn't quit. I think he struggled with getting held down in the past. Pretty consistently, and unfortunately that happened to him again. But to be able to fight back to it and get the finish, I would definitely like to see him, close some of that gap in his game. But like, way to go, man! Like, way to get it done. I was really happy to see that happen for him. I think he's a great dude. I know he's got like his mom has cancer and stuff, so it's always really awesome to see a guy like that win.
Oh, yeah, and his hands were looking clean. Like, the first round still kind of got that held down a little bit, but the next 2 rounds, you really saw him open up, really saw him just like, I don't know, just let loose, keeping his punches at a good range. He's so long and lanky. He was really using that range. And then in the third, obviously, he was able to capitalize, put Loso away. It was a beautiful performance by Phil.
No, it was. And I would love to see him evolve maybe some kind of like, I know Kevin Holland has a really unique game, but there's something about when people take Kevin Holland down now where it's really difficult to control him. And I think a huge piece of that, I'm sure it's taken a lot of practice, a lot of skill, but I think a huge piece of that is his length and his athleticism. And I think Phil Rowe is built similarly and could probably utilize some similar stuff when he does get taken down for trying to nullify situations, trying to get back to his feet,
Oh yeah, I feel like in the way his game's set up right now, his length almost plays against him. It was like he wasn't able to get to the positions he wanted to because he was too long,
leg out there.
Yeah, so I feel like he definitely needs to, I guess, approach it a little bit different. And also, I think he's just too comfortable with his jiu-jitsu. He's too comfortable being on his back, playing jiu-jitsu. He doesn't really have, in the second and third round, you saw a little bit more of that urgency of like, I need to get up. But in the first round, he was just like, too relaxed, too comfortable with his jiu-jitsu game that he was able to do something from there.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's a mentality issue as well, not just a skill issue, but got it done. Absolutely got it done. I did see this. So did you really say Simone was racist during the fight? So I was listening to Ricky Simone's post-fight interview. Did you see this?
Yeah, I saw it.
I think they were just bantering back and forth. And like Ricky Simone's holding him up against the cage and goes, "You're under arrest." And Cameron Smotherman goes, "That was racist." I was like, I think that's still funny.
Ricky was like, I wasn't even trying to play it that way. I just had him in a terrible position. I thought it was funny. He was like, whoa.
Whoa. I gotta be honest, I saw a little bit of the same attitude around the fight. And I think it may have cost them both the fight from Cameron Smotherman and Joaquin Buckley. Like you saw very similar, like, I'm okay, which I know Simone didn't get him down as obviously with as much control as Usman did Buckley, but there was a lot of time where it's just like okay being held against the cage talking shit. And I think there needs to be more of an urgency because then you saw Cameron do really well in the third and have some really great moments.
Well, Cameron posted on Instagram, I read it this morning, saying something about like how his last 2 fights were boring. Like his opponents got booed because they were making it boring. And I'm like, well, why don't you make it interesting then? Why don't you like keep the distance to make sure that he's not just pushing you up against the cage or not just holding you down? Like it's your job to make it interesting. You can't say that you got booed because your opponents were boring. It's like, no, it was a dance that both of you were a part of. It's like you were just as much of the boring part of that fight as he was. And I'm like, it's that mentality that I'm like you said, he was kind of almost like content sitting in some positions because he's like, oh no, my opponent's just not trying to fight me. But it's like, no, your opponent's winning the fight.
And I love what Simone said to that effect. He was like, he's like, yeah, like you can banter and like, but it's a lot better to be bantering when you're winning. Like that's, and you don't like guys with win bonuses don't complain about their fights being boring. Just saying. I think that's an issue. Like mentally for him, maybe like because he has the skill set. He does, and he has the athleticism, and he has power at that weight class too. He put on a really great performance against Jake Hadley. I remember.
He reminds me of like a little Max Holloway.
Yeah, he's very like, excuse me, he's like very slick, like. But and so I think yeah, like I feel last night some people would be up 2-0 and then they would just cruise. I mean, not really. You saw Smotherman come back. I don't know that Simone was cruising so much as like, I can't get knocked out. I need to nullify, like I need to use grappling to nullify the position and stuff. Like I'm trying to think who else was like cruising third round. Like the Maverick Namajunas fight was like probably 1-1 going into the third. Can you think? I'm honestly, Sean, throw a fight out for us for sure. Apparently, Buckley was denied entry into the arena by security.
Yeah, I saw that. He was he apparently, I guess, had his own transportation to the venue and didn't take UFC transportation and was trying to get into the building, and the security, like they were saying they're just filming him and the security guards weren't letting him in, and they're like, well, he's the main event. They're like, no, I'm sorry, I can't let you in. It's like, but he's the main event.
What? Like we stay off site from the fighter hotel all the time. The UFC has never not picked up Grant to take him to the venue.
Yeah, I don't know how it worked out, or
transportation. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just like let's spectacle it up, but I don't know. Did he rent like a super nice car? Maybe.
I have no idea. That's the only portion of the clip I saw.
Sounds like a Buckley thing. I'm not talking Simone specifically, talking other fighters. Edmund was just trying to cruise in the third round. I mean, I thought he looked pretty solid in the third. Like Petrosky definitely looked better in the third, but like to this effect, I thought Petrosky looked really bad early in the fight. And so maybe it was just the fact that Petrosky looked less bad in the third that made it seem like Edmund was maybe doing less, but he still did well in the third round. Like it wasn't that, like we said earlier, the prelims were better than most of the main card fights, to be honest. And I include that fight. It wasn't the most exciting fight on the card, but I don't know. Maybe I need to rewatch it. I've only watched it once, but I didn't think he was cruising. Also to that point, I think Grant owes Edmund Shabazian an apology. If you guys missed Tuesday's show, poor Edmund Shabazian was catching strays from Grant Dawson. And Grant and I we were both wrong. We both thought there was value on Andre Petrosky, and we were kind of talking about this yesterday, and he reminds me a lot of like kind of like a Phil Hawes, where there's like so much talent and athleticism, but it's like he hasn't figured out how to put the puzzle together yet. And so I hope he figures it out. I don't know what, and Grant said on Tuesday, he's like, I don't know what the issue is. I don't know if Andre needs to go to a new gym. I don't know if it's just like a mental thing that needs to click, but he's just missing something. And I do still think that's the case. I also want to give flowers to Edmund Shabazian, who looked really, really good. Great takedown defense. Didn't stop ever, because he's been held down in the past. He's been out-wrestled, and yeah, looked really, really clean on the feet. I wasn't mad at the performance. But let's go here. Sorry, we've been kind of bouncing around like crazy. I do want to get through the prelims.
I was going to say, I want to throw it back to the next fight that was on the prelims. It was Cody Durden and Jose Ochoa, which was
insane.
His striking is so precise.
Yeah, dude, he is an athlete, and he looked huge too. Like, I think we're seeing this kind of changing of the guard at flyweight, where some of the older guys are looking undersized when they're fighting this new generation of flyweights. Like these kids are so strong, so fast, so athletic, so powerful. Like, and I think we're seeing this changing of the guard coming at flyweight. There's just it's a very exciting new generation of fighters for me to watch. But kid's a stud. Cody is also a psychopath. I feel like he's always like putting himself in danger, and he's always fun to watch. I have never been not entertained by a Cody Durden fight because he's always fun to watch, but he sometimes fights a little recklessly, and it pays off for him a lot. But yeah, it's Ochoa is a mini version of Charles. You kind of see it. It's pretty like sharp, like accurate boxing. Like I can see it.
No, like you said, Durden's an absolute dog. The first round was just fun to watch. The second round, I'm like, just a clean uppercut to start, and then just walked him down, hit another. Like you can just see in those 2 punches how precise he is. Just clean on the button, put him down. It was, but even the first round though, everything he threw was just, it was fun to watch.
No, it really was, and the first round was insane. I think Cody hurt Ochoa at one point too. Like it was nuts. We were like, who won the first? Like, and then it came out and it was over. I was like, because apparently the Codys all went 0-3. Cody Brundage, Cody Durden, and Cody Garbrandt. No, it was not a good night for the Codys in Atlanta, unfortunately.
Not a good night for the Codys.
Not good, but yeah, the fight was awesome for that first round in 11 seconds. The Vanessa Demopoulos Jamie Lynn Horth fight was fun too. I want to credit Vanessa because she took a fight on really short notice up a weight class, and we've seen her in the past kind of like concede bottom position, and she pulled guard a couple times, but I honestly don't blame her because I think the size was so different. She knew she was down. She's like, hey, maybe I can like throw a Hail Mary. But she swung with her there at the end. Like it was pretty entertaining, to be honest.
Well, I think the guard pull was actually a very smart idea for someone like me. If I'm going to be shooting, I wasn't successful for 2 rounds already, then it's like, all right, let's go to the out of the box ideas. Let's think of something else. So I think that was something I feel like even she had one point, it kind of worked out for her. She pulled guard, went for a leg lock, got a sweep off of it, kind of took the back. Right. So it was like, that was like one of her bigger moments in the fight was off of a guard pull. So I think it was a very smart idea. She's definitely like constantly walking forward. It was being a dog, but Jamie Lynn Horth looked like she was just like, it was like target practice for her. She was just like landing straight shots all night long. But like you said, Vanessa took the fight on a week's notice, and the whole 15 minutes was walking forward, did not stop for a second.
No, and it was really enjoyable for me to watch. Like I liked that fight a lot, and it opened up the card beautifully. Then followed up by the Rowe Lusa fight, which was nuts. But the prelims were like delivered there early. But yeah, credit to Vanessa and Jamie Lynn. She looked, like you said, she looked super clean on the feet, and I think she just outlengthed Vanessa there as well. So let's see. We hit Ricky. Ricky Simone looked awesome. I didn't think that fight was boring at all, to be honest. I thought it was a really fun fight. Ricky Simone is an underrated guy. Like, I don't know if you guys forgot, like, he kind of has a win over the greatest bantamweight ever, Merab Dvalishvili. Like, he's kind of good. Like, Ricky Simone's an underrated guy at 135. I think he's always kind of been that. Like,
I watched the other day the video of him with the guillotine in Merab, and just on Merab's part, that is something that's amazing to watch because Ricky Simone has this guillotine on him for it has to be a good minute, and Merab is turning purple and not defending the right way at all. He's just kicking his legs, just keeps on kicking his legs for this. Like, it's such a long period of time. And when the bell rings and Ricky lets go, Merab's out for a second, then wakes right back up. But it's just like such a crazy sequence to go back and watch. Of like, it just came up on Instagram this last week, I'm assuming, to promote Ricky Simone's fight. I do think, like, his last fight against Basharat, he looked great. This fight, I think it wasn't as exciting for me, but I think he did come in with a good game plan to secure a finish with a short notice opponent.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, I thought he looked good. But, and I do want to give him flowers for Basharat. I hate to see a teammate lose, but I think, like, just watching him in the gym, I think so highly of Javid Basharat. I think he has some of the most high-level striking I have ever seen. Like, I think he is a really talented fighter. So that is that is a really good win I think that's going to age super well. I think Bosharat will be a contender at 135. But yeah, I thought he looked good. Didn't think it was boring. I wasn't bored by any of the prelims. Wellmarker, we already talked about. I lied. Chiesa and Court McGee was a little rough to watch. Kind of forgot that fight was on the prelims. I know I never want to like be like, oh, somebody needs to retire. And if you go back and look at Court McGee's record, UFC record, who he's fought, how active he's been, the dude's now, he was 11-12 before he fought Chiesa. So he's 11-13 in the UFC. But he has fought, if you look at his Tapology, it looks like this man has never said no to a fight. Like, I understand why the UFC keeps Court McGee around, because it looks like he's never said no to a fight. He has one cancellation in his entire UFC career, and it was Kelvin Gastelum pulling out. That's like, most people have at least one on there that's their fault, right? Like, you got hurt, you got sick, you missed weight, whatever it was. Like, nothing, not a single pullout since when did he get signed? Like
20 years ago.
Forever ago.
A long time ago.
But like, so I understand why Court McGee like still has a job. I don't want to be like he shouldn't, but I also feel like there's like, we've talked about this with the women's division where you're like, I think they need to cut more people and make the women rise to the occasion. And I sometimes watching these older guys fight, I feel the same way where it's like, I think it's time, you know, like we could have had some killer lightweights on this card. There's not a single lightweight fight on this card.
But that being said, like Court McGee, his last fight, again, he fought Tim Means, looked really good, went out there and got a finish. So I'm like,
but he's old too.
Yeah, he's old too, but still he went out there and it was still an interesting fight, an entertaining fight to watch, where this time they both just looked like they were in the gym sparring each other. Like there was no intensity to it. Like neither one of them wanted it more than the other. They were just like, like two guys hanging out, just like flowing with each other in the gym. It didn't look like an actual fight to me. No,
I agree. So Court McGee, he won the Ultimate Fighter, right? He won the Ultimate Fighter in 2010. 2010, man. It's been 15 years.
I said 20 years ago. I wasn't too far off.
You were close. Like I said, I'm not surprised he still has a job. He seems like a really reliable guy for the UFC. And I think when they are like, oh, we have this older welterweight that really we need to put on this card because he's from the area or whatever, it's like, oh, let's call Court McGee. Like we know he'll bring it. But I agree with you. This one was especially after the first prelim fight, the rest of the prelims, for this to be the end, I definitely kind of zoned out a little bit a few times.
I feel like this started like the main card for me. This was like the beginning of the end. Like I said, I definitely had some interesting moments in the main card, but like majority of them from this point on were not great.
No, I know. I honestly meant to start with the main event today, guys, and I don't know how this happened. My mind goes woo, and then Gillian and I talk about fights and then I look at the clock and it's been like almost an hour. But we gotta talk about this is the thing that everybody is talking about from last night, and this is kind of overshadowing Usman's win a little bit. All right, so let's talk about Bellato here. This was weird. I wanted to record the whole clip for you guys and like screen record it and post it, but I don't know what the rules are on YouTube and Kick for copywriting, so I don't want us to get flagged for copyright infringement. So I'm just showing you the screenshot. Guys, this is before he was unconscious. And I know some knockouts are weird. Gillian and I were talking about the Shane Burgos Edson Barbosa knockout. She brought it to my attention. Great point. But Shane Burgos never looked at the ref. Bellato looked at the ref twice. And he didn't seize and try to fight the ref either. But it was also the order. So we rewound this 37 times trying to figure out what on earth happened. Because at first glance, when the kick first landed, I thought it was illegal. at the very, and I was like, oh no, his knee was down. That's illegal. Then we started watching the replays. This was the order of events that I saw. Correct me if you saw something else, but I saw the first thing he did was fall back at the ref and look at him like, what the heck? And then as soon as he saw the ref stepping in, he fell back. Grant caught something. His head didn't smack the floor. He caught his, caught his neck. Like if you fall back and you're not unconscious, you hold your head up so your head doesn't smack the mat. When you watch guys get knocked out, we don't see that. So head didn't hit the mat, but then lays back. Then the ref comes over there and he looks at the ref and goes, what happened? Like, oh, the fight's over. What happened? Fair reaction to getting knocked out. And then starts fighting the ref. So it's like you recognized the ref, knew the fight was over, asked him what happened, and then went back to not knowing where you were. Like the brain is weird, but to me, this was wild.
Yeah, I don't. The only argument I would make with he didn't look at the ref and the Shane Burgos versus this one is that Burgos got hit with a legal strike where Bellato maybe recognized he got hit with an illegal strike, and that's why. Like, this is me playing devil's advocate. I don't think that this is what happened, honestly. I think it is more of an act than anything else. But, like, say it is the case that this was all a 100% real reaction. Like, maybe it took a second for his brain to shut off. Like, he was looking at the ref because he knew it was an illegal strike. And then it took, like with Shane Burgos, it took a second for his brain to shut off before he really, fell back. What's really weird to me, though, is how long it lasted of him, trying to fight the ref. And, it wasn't until, 3 people came in. Even when multiple people came in there, it's looked like he was, I don't know, almost, scared. Like, he was still trying to attack or something. And it lasted for such a long period of time that I'm like, I don't know. It was just very weird. If it is an acting job, then, I'm almost impressed by that too. It was a lot too. So I don't know. It was a lot. I really don't know what to think about it.
Wait, why are we still small? Stage removed from stage. Okay, there we go. I was I thought I did it right. Gotta push my buttons. I also, in the slow-mo, it doesn't look like the kick even hit his chin. It looks like he landed on his neck. So that makes it weirder. And then the Shane Burgos fight, he did get back to his feet eventually, but it took a while. Burgos was out for a hot second. Dude, as soon as Bellato as soon as he stopped scrambling around, he was aware, back up to his feet. I don't think if your brain was that shook, would you come back that quick? And also, I think there's a super easy fix for this. Test him for a concussion. If that dude doesn't have a concussion, because if it was that bad, he definitely has a concussion. If that dude doesn't have a concussion, we know.
Yeah. No, I definitely didn't watch I didn't break it down like you guys did. I didn't watch the slow frame by frame by frame. I watched the replay a couple times whenever it was on, but so that's my impression of it. I don't know. It does seem a little bit chopped up,
It's dicey. It's dicey. And I am usually on the side of the fighter that gets hit with the illegal strike. I usually am. So I want to that I am all for there should be no draws and no contests. This should have been a DQ. Looking at the body of evidence, I'm pretty glad this guy didn't get a win bonus. That doesn't seem like it would be the right thing here.
That being said, on the judging part, how is that not a DQ if you are counting that as an illegal upkick to a finish?
I genuinely think and I don't know this, because it's something I've never thought about. I'm not accusing the UFC of doing anything, but I can imagine the UFC would not be very happy about paying either of those guys a win bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why we have more no contests when a fight ends like that. I gotta be honest. I don't think Bellato was way worse than Aljo. Aljo at least actually got hit. I don't think those are comparable. This was another level to me. Quick reflexes from Bellato to decide whether or not to complain to the ref or play dead. It looked weird. It looked weird. And I normally err on the side with the fighter where I'm like, hey, the brain's weird. We've seen crazier things, but this is by far the craziest thing I've ever seen. So that I can't say that I've seen anything crazier than this. Kayla ate. Dude, yeah, Kayla had a better chin than Bellato last week. She ate some like 3 almost, like 2.5. But yeah, we'll move on. We'll move on. Let's dive into this main event. But I think our consensus is Bellato probably flopped this. Do you think he should get cut, or should they just give him somebody really tough?
I would say probably still give him another chance, give him somebody tough, just because it is such, like, at the end of the day, he's the only one who really knows what happened. Like, for all we, like you said, the brain's weird. For all we know, this could have been legit. I don't think so, but I'm like, he's the only one who really does know. Give him a tougher matchup, see if he does, I guess, deserve to be in this spot, or maybe we see another moment like this, you know?
Then we know.
Yeah, then we definitely know.
I think if it is acting, it reflects really poorly on the sport. Like, I think we finally garnered a better understanding of, yes, it is dangerous to fight, but it's not as dangerous as we used to think it was. You know, like, it's become a very safe sport overall. And I think that we that reflects poorly on the sport to have that happen. So yeah, it's strange, especially since it was a super close first round. But maybe he was tired, you know.
Yeah, that's that was my other thought to it. Is I was like, it's not like he was like getting his ass beat the first round, losing drastically. Like it's not. If you could argue that he won the first round, you know, like it's like, I don't know. I'm like, why are you looking for a way out if that is the case?
I mean, and I think he's career-wise typically slows down. So maybe he was just tired, wanted a way out. Maybe he just wanted an easy win. He's like, oh, I can get a paycheck and go home. Like, sure, you know, who knows? All right, we're going into this main event because I meant to start with this, and then we got into the prelims. I promised Dave I would start with the main events for you guys, and I messed up. I'm sorry, Dave. But this is why I shouldn't be in charge of show lineups. I'm too ADD. Kamaru Usman looked amazing, guys. I saw somebody asking about his striking. It was way up there. I'm not going to scroll for the comment. I don't remember who it was. Guys, Kamaru Usman has the knees of an 85-year-old paraplegic, and he's still winning fight. Like, you can see it. You can see that his knees are bad, and it doesn't change how good of a fighter he is. Like, we know he's 38 years old. Also, what a unit. What a freaking unit is Kamaru Usman. Joaquin Buckley looked tiny next to Usman. He is a massive dude. And I've been saying this. I thought Buckley was going to win in this fight. I thought it was going to be very close. I thought Buckley would get probably, do some, maybe land a big shot. But I did have Buckley winning. But I have said consistently for however many months that I think Usman, people forgot about Usman. Like, I think very highly of him. I thought very highly of his very short notice performance against Khamzat Chimaev. I think he's still a force in this division. And I love seeing a guy like that come back after so much time and put on a performance against a guy like Buckley.
But did Kamaru's knees ever give him trouble in a fight? So I'm like, I don't know how bad his knees are compared to my hip, but I know my hip is very bad when I'm out of training, but it's never given me an issue. Like, literally, I will go in the cage, I will spar 5 hard rounds, I will look great, and then I will be limping out the cage because I can hardly walk. So I'm assuming he's somewhere in the same position as I am, of like the adrenaline, just being in a fight, everything like that. It kind of, like, I don't know, takes away from it. I feel like your body just knows what it has to do and kind of just gets you through it, where I'm like, I saw videos of Kamaru trying to squat last week, and I'm like, wasn't looking good. Like, he gets like a little inch probably, and that's about it. And I'm like, that's the same with me and my hip, where I'm like, can't do much with it. But when you see me fight, you would never know. And I'm assuming he's probably on the same page. But I do think he looked, I almost think he kind of maybe exposed Buckley a little bit. I didn't realize Buckley was this bad off of his back. I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if other fighters take this approach with Buckley in the future, because I'm like, it just he looked like he was just like holding on, didn't really have many options. So yeah, I really think he might have exposed Buckley a little bit last night.
I 100% agree. Like you could see, and I know Buckley likes being at smaller gyms. He said that multiple times. And I think it might become a disservice to him as he tries to move up in these rankings, because let's just go through the top, because the welterweight division is the best division in the world right now. Like it was lightweight for a long time. Welterweight has it. If you look at this top 15, it's nuts right now. And I think like three guys in the top 15, maybe 4, are over the age of 30. Everybody else is like 27, 28. So they're not even in their prime yet, and they're crushing it. You have Bilal Muhammad, Sean Brady, Shavkat Rakhmonov, and Leon Edwards. Those are the 4 guys that are ranked above Kamaru Usman. Looking at Buckley's issues with the grappling, who does he make? Leon's probably his best matchup. Like, and honestly, I can see Leon beating him because he has that range. I think Buckley has superior cardio over an extended fight. And somebody said that earlier, like, dude is still dangerous in round 5. Even after being held down for 4 rounds, and like he really does, he has fixed whatever cardio issue he used to have. It is not present. But I'm with you. I think we now know how Buckley. It was a question: how is Buckley going to do with the very top of this division? And now we know. You know, there's too many good grapplers at the top of that division for him to, I think, get to a title at this point. At least the way he's training now. And I do wonder if some of that comes from, like, who are you training with in the gym? Who is on top of you? And are you required to do the correct things to get to your feet? Or are you able to like explode or athlete up? And we saw it. We saw like he's not putting his feet flat on the mat. He's not trying to create space. Like he was tying up half guard with his legs. He was tying Usman up. He wasn't making the right decisions off his back, like you said.
Oh yeah, and I don't think it's necessarily like who's on top of you, but do you have the right tools? It doesn't seem like he has the right tools or the right skill set at the moment from his back to, like, I don't know, to be doing anything effective. In the 5th round, he at least showed that he had some of the tools to defend wrestling, which I don't know why he looked so inept in it early. Like in the first 3 rounds, it looked like he didn't even have a sprawl. It didn't look like he had any kind of takedown defense, where in the 5th, he at least showed he had some of those tools, just probably wasn't, I don't know why. Like, part of me is debating if he was like a little bit starstruck fighting Usman. I know that was a huge idol for him. He wasn't like turning it on, because it looked like he had a skill set in the 5th round that he didn't have in the first 3 of being able to defend takedowns.
Right. And I do wonder, was some of that Usman, just slowing down a little bit, but I agree. He definitely seemed more tenacious with trying to defend at the end. Don't think he did the first 4 rounds.
Usman's initial takedown, I want to say it was in the 2nd or 3rd round, he took a takedown that was from miles away, like so far away, and Buckley just let him get in on the hips, didn't even try to defend. So that's why it's like making me wonder about Buckley's mindset more than his skill set in those moments. Just because in the 5th, it looked like he was sprawling hard. He was actually turning it on. And it's not like Kamaru was taking these insane shots in the 2nd and 3rd round that it was like, oh, he got in so clean and so nice. It was like some of the shots were pretty far out, and Buckley was just providing no defense.
I wonder if part of him too, because Kamaru gets people down and has world-class control, but not a lot of finishes. We've seen him not like he has finishes on the feet. We saw him knock out Kobe, saw him knock out Masvidal. But like usually if he gets in your guard, he beats you up, but he doesn't like TKO everybody there, And so I think maybe Buckley's mindset was like, oh, he's not going to finish me. And it's only a matter of time I'm going to knock him out. And then he gets to this 5th round and he hasn't knocked him out yet. And it's like, oh, shoot, maybe I should actually defend the takedown. It's like and I don't know if he'd be able to do that for 5 rounds. I honestly don't know. I don't know if Usman's shots were a little weaker in the 5th than they were in the 1st and 2nd. Because, he literally speared him. He, straight line dove, took his leg. He did get his legs together really quickly. So I'll give Buckley credit for that, because that was a pure athletic shot. That was insane. And he was taking really good shots earlier in the fight. And then later you saw him kind of try to pull the leg, which he's really good at. That, like, I call it like the old lazy man shot. He's so good at that where he just reaches. He's got such long arms. He just reaches for your lead leg and pulls it to him. I think Buckley is a hard guy to do that to because his legs are like this big. And he's just so strong and he's short. It's easier on somebody a little bit taller, probably with longer, thinner legs. But like, he just, I think I lost my train of thought. I think like what you said, he maybe thought he could not, like, maybe he was like, oh shoot, my game plan didn't work. Maybe I should defend takedowns now. It was very, very strange.
I will say the change that I saw in him that I saw in the 4th and the 5th that I feel like, I don't know, may have helped him, may have just made it a little bit more uncomfortable for Usman is he was changing his stances more. He was going into a southpaw stance more often, where I feel like it was a little bit more awkward for Usman to shoot on that, like the open stances versus being closed stance. So I'm like, that's the only adjustment where I'm like, maybe it's that he was able, Usman wasn't able to get in as deep. He was able to create his angles a little bit better. And I think that's also why Usman was grabbing that leg a little bit more, is because he was standing southpaw more. So he had to make that little bit of adjustment.
Yeah, no, that's a great read. I overall, I thought Usman looked really good. And honestly, like, who do you think he still beats in that top 5 is my question.
That's a good question. I don't know. I was counting him out of this fight, honestly.
Too, like, to some extent.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know. It's a tough top 5 up there.
What did you do him and Belal?
I think Belal was even posting something about it already. So, like, yeah, I like that matchup better than any of the others up there right now.
Well, I don't think it makes sense for Brady to fight him because Brady's right there for a title shot. Shavkat's, as soon as he's healed, he's right there for a title shot. So it's either you have him fight Leon for the 3rd time or 4th time, sorry, for the 4th time, or you do him and Belal, who I'm kind of surprised never crossed paths. Anyway, I guess they were different kind of generations of even though they're both like in their 30s and have been around, they were kind of like, Belal was still coming up the ranks when Usman was like dominating the division. So yeah, I think that's a fun one to do. I don't know who wins that.
No, neither do I. I really actually am interested in that matchup. I think that's the one to make.
I would honestly think Usman with the size and I don't think Belal can out wrestle Usman.
I just know that I remember, like, if Usman does get put on his back too, he's one that's not the best either. So I'm like, if he does get wrestled, then that might be an issue. But I don't think Belal will give him those issues.
I don't think he can take him down. He's so big, and his wrestling's world class. And I think, like, this is what I was going to say earlier about his knees. I do think Usman's done a good job adapting his style. Like, his style suits him well. He's not like a fast footwork guy. He's pretty flat, but he stays safe, like, generally. And so I think it's okay. Like, he doesn't have to have like knees that can handle like cutting and moving quickly. That was just a thought I had earlier that has nothing to do with him fighting Belal. But I agree. We've got like a couple minutes, guys, because we have to run a little early since it's Father's Day. But we had like another weird fight. Mansour Abdul Malik headbutt ended the fight. Enough of the fight had gone on for them to go to the scorecards. I don't mind that. I just want there to be a winner. Whether it's a DQ, I don't like no contest. I don't like draws. If there's a tie in a basketball game, we go to overtime. It's always a winner.
Yeah. I don't know. Definitely. It was uneventful until that point in the fight. I feel like there wasn't a lot going on in the first 2 rounds. They were kind of like, it almost looked like waiting for they both looked like they were waiting to counter. They both were like,
bad fight, you can say
it. It was a pretty bad fight. And then in the 3rd round, though, it was like we finally had some action. It's like we were like, yes, this is what we wanted. And then, of course, a headbutt happened fast. So, I don't know. That was another weird one. Not exactly happy with the fight as a whole. I feel like on the main card, it was really the Garbrandt fight and the Rose Namajunas. I'm like, those 2 fights are the only one, or I guess Ronnie Barcelos, I should say, because he looked phenomenal. But Ronnie Barcelos and Rose Namajunas are the only 2 fights where I was like, they were very entertaining to me. I feel like they might have been on they were on the level of the prelims.
I 100% agree. And not to gloss over Barcelos, because I picked him to beat Cody Garbrandt, and Cody Garbrandt did way better than I thought he would, to be honest. But Barcelos is a stud. He's another underrated guy at 135. But I do want to, like, it was kind of what you said after you came back from training with Rose. She's just such a veteran. And give me your take on this. I even felt like she made some mistakes on top. And I know Miranda is super physically strong. Like, she's a great athlete. And so maybe some of it was that. But I feel like there's some times where she, like, got a little too hasty to take the back and kind of fell off, or, like, got a little too high and, like, still won. Like, which is just veteranness. You know, like, there wasn't really a time for Miranda to capitalize on any of Rose's mistakes, like, which were very small, but they definitely were there. I don't know if you saw them as well.
Yeah, no, I definitely, even like, obviously I got to train with her a couple weeks ago. I'm like, I definitely recognize she does make some technical errors, but where she makes those technical errors, she is just, like you said, such a vet. She just feels like a champion. She feels like she's a world champion. She doesn't give you a lot of opportunities to capitalize. She's good at creating scrambles when she needs to and staying safe in those, where she doesn't, like I said, it's not like she has the best technique all around, but she's still good at handling those positions and being in those areas just because she has for 20 plus years at this point, where I'm like, she's just so used to the sport, used to dealing with these situations. She's such a vet. And I really think, I was hoping for her with that rear naked choke. I think her head position was a little bit off on it, and that's why she fell off the top. But I'm like, a lot of good moments for her. She had that, and I guess, like, me being a part of her camp too, it's like, I know what she's working on. I know what she's looking for in these moments, like just seeing the little things of like what they were game planning. So it's cool to see her be able to execute those in the fight as well.
No, I agree. And the adjustments. That's another, like, just veteran thing. Like, I don't think she planned. It looks to me, and you would know what her camp was more geared towards. It didn't look like she planned to grapple this much. But then in the first round, she saw Miranda's just her physicality is there. And I think physicality versus, like, Rose, like, I think she's a little too big for strawweight, but she's not as big as Miranda. And I don't think she had quite as much pop on her punches. And she could feel Miranda start to, like, walk through some of the strikes. The first round was very close. Arguably could have been Miranda's round. She made such good adjustments. She's like, listen, I wasn't planning to grapple with this big, strong girl, but, like, I have to. Like, that's how it seemed to me. I'm not sure if you know more about what her game plan was going in.
Yeah, I think, well, it's like, ideally, obviously, her game plan, like, Rose stick and move on the outside. That's where she looks clean. That's where she looks the best. But I'm like, I don't think it was anywhere, like, when we were sparring, she definitely took me down too. You know, I'm like, that outside trip she hit on Miranda, I felt it too. I'm like, it's not situations she wasn't working on. It's not situations she wasn't, like, trying to enforce while we were sparring, you know, and this was just 3 weeks out. So I think even like that high crotch that she hit on the back, I'm like, me and her were drilling that in the garage a couple weeks ago. Yeah. So I'm like, it's just, these were situations that she was, I guess, already ready for, was ready to grapple with Miranda, was ready to, like, that outside trip she hits is, I honestly, I think I defended it, like, half defended it once maybe. She hits it so nice, like, gets in it clean, just uses her footwork on her striking to set up that wrestling shot so well, where I'm like, she was able to hit it again beautifully in this fight. And I think just, yeah, like I said, just all around, I saw things that, like, I'm like, we drilled this 2 weeks ago, and now you're doing it in this fight. It's just awesome to see you put it together.
I love when that happens. That's the best. Yeah. So just very all around prepared, you know. And she made, whether that was her game plan or not, she made the adjustments. Like, she arguably didn't win the first round. She's like, all right, we got to do something different. You know. So it's just that there's experience points. Those XPs are definitely added up for Rose. I'm interested to see what they do with her next as well. I honestly don't know if she could make another title run at 125. Like, there are some really, really good girls there. And then you also have, like, I do think she's a little bit in betweener. I know you said she's big enough for flyweight, but she's not, like, the biggest flyweight.
Yeah,
right?
I would argue, like, obviously it's her choice at the end of the day. I think that if she did want to go down to 115, I think it would be a good option for her still. I don't think I feel like she's very similar size to me, honestly. Okay. I feel like me and her are, I don't know. I think it would be a tough cut for her, but it would be a very doable cut for her. I don't know if it's like she doesn't want to or whatever her thought process is behind, I guess, deciding 25 over 15. But I think that I don't know. I think she would do good at 15 as well.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. I think she just has more. There's more on her punches at 115. People can't just walk through her. You have to respect her power a little bit more. While these flyweights, like, a little denser, they got a little more on there, and she's such a technician. She's such a tactician. So I was
gonna say she was still able to drop her in that third with a nice little short hook.
So apparently Miranda did say she tore her ACL when she kind of went down there. Like, it did look like her leg kind of fell underneath her. I'm surprised she knows already. Doesn't it take a few days to get a MRI back? But I mean, maybe not with the UFC. I don't know. I've never had that kind of medical care. But well, hopefully that's not the case, and maybe it's just a suspected injury. But yeah, that's unfortunate. Might be out for a while. But all credit to Rose. I don't know that changed the outcome necessarily, but she looked great. She made the right adjustments. It's been 50 minutes. I said we were going to be done at 45, so we have to go. But thank you guys. I want to talk. We want to talk about this all day. But yeah, we'll be back on. Well, I won't be. You'll be here Tuesday?
Yes, I'll be here Tuesday.
Jillian will be here Tuesday, and maybe, I don't know, maybe Dave will replace me for the afternoon. Unfortunately, I will not be here. I have an appointment. But we love you guys. Thank you for spending your Sundays with us. We'll be more consistent with our Sundays moving forward. We will. There's what do we have next week? We have Hill versus Roundtree. Honestly, this is not a bad fight night either. Oh, Rizvan and Curtis Blades got rebooked for the third time. So I really want to see that fight. So I really hope it happens. So, all right. We will cover Hill and Roundtree on Tuesday. We love you guys. Peace out, Girl Scout.